Let's get corrupted. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Joe with Meteoric Serpents coming back at you for another episode of the Colubrid Corruption Podcast. Guys, it's great to be back. This is episode number 87 of Colubrid Corruption. We keep pushing. Super exciting. We're getting closer to 100 week after week. Obviously, that's how time and numbers work. So, yeah, I'm just excited to keep this going, keep bringing the show to you guys. And I hope you all as excited as me. Tonight, we're bringing on Mike from Solid Serpents, who I met in person at the very least a couple years ago at a little over a year ago at the first Colubrid Fest. But we've been friendly on social media kind of since the podcast started, I think. So that's cool. Cool to have him on. He's doing cool stuff in his personal collection and on YouTube and stuff. So excited to bring him on, get his kind of perspective on things, and see where he's at in his reptile journey. But before we bring Mike up, our usual business, guys, if it's your first time listening to the podcast, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe here on YouTube. We're still chasing 1,200 subscribers, so make sure you go ahead and do that. If you're listening to the replay, drop a comment. Let me know what your favorite part of the episode is. And then if you don't necessarily like watching or listening on YouTube, you could go check this out on all the major audio podcasting platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Google Play, I believe, a couple others. So feel free to go check it out on there. Give it a 5-star rating, leave a review, all that good stuff. Share it with your friends who are into colubrids, and keep the train going. Let's get more listeners listening to this and Colubrid corrupted. Send it to your Python friends. Get them Colubrid corrupted too. But yeah, let's see. Guys, as always, the first link in the description below goes to the Meteoric Serpents /Colubrid Corruption Patreon. If you're interested in checking that out, a few different membership tiers gets you exclusive access to what's going on behind the scenes here at Meteoric Serpents, early access to episodes I do pre-recordings of, just a little more behind the scenes of, what goes on here. And it helps to support the show because, putting on the show is not free. So it always helps out, and I appreciate everyone's support. I greatly appreciate my Patreon members. You guys are awesome. So yeah, thank you guys for supporting. Again, first link in the description. Let's see. Guys, if you are looking to support a good cause, the CCR Conservation Fund, like I've mentioned, we raised quite a bit of money at both Colubrid Fests. That is going directly towards colubrid conservation. Dr. Loafman and his students are working on that over in Iowa. It's a really great cause, and I recommend, if you're looking to throw some money to a 501, what is it called? 501c3 nonprofit. Go donate to the CCR Conservation Fund. Definitely helps to make a difference in that world. Go to Colubrid and colubroidradio.com to find out more information about that. Yeah, let's see, what else am I possibly missing? Some stuff about me personally. Everything is doing well here. So big change. I actually mentioned it. I alluded to it on last week's episode with Billy. But I have officially decided, really after that episode, that I'm going to part with my ball pythons and I'm going full in on colubrids. Decision wasn't made easily. I do like the ball pythons, but a number of factors, which includes my living situation, I just decided that I think it would be best. My heart's more on the colubrids, and I think it would be best overall for me to go full-fledged on the colubrid. So I'm excited to kind of take that dive. I'm going to have a little extra space in the room now. So yeah, should be interesting. And that also leaves the question of what more should I add to the collection, which I'm definitely going to take some time, not making impulse decisions, but selling off these pythons is going to bring some new money and new space to my potential collection building. So we'll see what gets done there. But yeah, and then before we bring Mike on, just quickly, our hashtag Colubrid corruption of the week. Let's see here. I found this one. As always, I hope I didn't use this one before, but from King Snake King, some baby Eastern indigos. Really cool. Great picture. So appreciate you posting this and using the hashtag, guys. Use hashtag Colubrid corruption. Yeah, and I do a shout out like these once per week. So I scroll through the hashtag and find a cool post. So go ahead and post something up, and you might be chosen every week. So yeah, thank you. All right. Let's say we got a few people in the chats. We got Keller in the building as always. What's up, Keller? I know you'll be gone in the next half hour. Traveling Ma. Oh, is that Amanda? Oh no, Amanda's down here. Thanks for being here. We got Reptile Rejects. Thanks for tuning in. Mollendorfi, that would be a cool ad. Definitely is not out of the question, but I don't know. They're expensive animals, and if I'm gonna make that investment, it's really gotta. I know it would be cool to have them. I just hear babies, especially when you breed them, can be tough. Long egg incubations as well. So we'll see. But Moldorfi could be on the list of potentials. And we do have Amanda here. What's going on? Oh, and Mason, last minute, one of the Patreon members. Appreciate you, Mason. All right. But without further ado, 12 people in the chat tonight. That's what's up. But yeah, let's bring on our guest for tonight and welcome Mike from Solid Serpents. What's up, Mike? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Is this working? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are good.
Cool.
What's been up, man? How are you?
Oh, good. It's winter here in Utah, so the depression just starts going up because now I have to wait till May, like mid-May, or I guess the beginning of May, we can start the garter snakes. You can find some, but then, the next few months is rough because you're kind of stuck inside. It's dark at 5 o'clock and it's cold. There's some cool birds out, which is fun if you're a bird person, but I like to get out. If anybody knows me, I like to get out and walk around and hike and look for critters, and you can't do that in the summertime, or in the wintertime.
Right. Yeah.
So people down in the southeast that are posting up, "Oh, I caught this cool snake in December." Like, get out of here. Stay off social media and stop making us sad.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Now that I'm in New York and I have the real winters again, it's been real cold over here, so I can.
Yeah, that's rotten.
I can feel you on that. But yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming to the podcast. Like I said, we've been connected at the very least on social media, probably for the last couple of years or so. We got to meet.
It was probably your first,
Colubrid Fest. Yeah.
Because I remember, I'm always looking for good podcasts coming up. So.
Hell yeah. And then we got to meet in person at the Colubrid Fest, obviously, which was awesome, and get connected there. And obviously saw you again at Colubrid Fest number 2. But yeah, I really want to hear, and especially for the chat, kind of how you got into reptiles, where this all started, and how that kind of segued to where you're at with your collection today.
So I grew up in Kent, Washington, which is just 15 minutes, minutes, depends on traffic. It's just 15, 20 minutes south of Seattle, in the Puget Sound area. So reptiles up there are not really, it's not a big thing. We have garter snakes. So elementary school, I was going to a local pond where I lived during elementary. There was a pond and a field where there were garter snakes and frogs. But really, I wasn't really a huge reptile guy. I like nature and animals in general. But the biggest thing is we had the Puget Sound, so I was out catching starfish and crabs, a couple times a month, just going across the valley to Des Moines, and just catching the cool stuff in the tide pools. And then once I moved to Utah right after high school, I kind of dabbled. I'd catch a local garter snake, keep it for a few months, have some fish. I tried a Knowles once. but it really wasn't until my mid to late 30s that I really started getting into the current thing that I have now in snakes. That's because my daughter, she was probably 11, 12, and she wanted a corn snake for Christmas. So,
Okay.
you get one snake, you don't stop with one. So,
Yeah.
Fluffy, little
And I
corn
have to
snake
ask
who's
then,
right here. Yeah.
where did your daughter like get into it from? Was it like YouTube, or was it seeing you
No,
do stuff over the years, or?
I got a bearded dragon, which was an awful decision. I still have him, but he's so high maintenance. Never get bearded
Yeah.
dragons. They're like cats. But we got a bearded dragon. We went to Reptile Expo. The kids were holding different snakes, and then she said, "Oh, I want a corn snake." And we were looking, and yeah, I got her a corn snake. So wasn't
Nice.
anything crazy. It was really just going to a Reptile Expo. She liked corn snakes, but it, like all little kids, when you get a pet for a little kid, I am the one that takes care of it. So it really turned
Yeah.
into my snake, and she didn't even really like snakes now. So she's off at college up north.
Okay.
So none of my kids really care for snakes. They've grown up with them now, and they don't. Some kids stay nerdy and into that biology science field. My kids don't give a crap. They're like, man, they have friends over that hold the snakes, but they don't care. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, yeah, and then that one corn snake obviously led to some more. So, like, where did the interest like kind of pick up there, and in what you wanted to get into, and how did that get you to where your current collection's at?
So I got just the regular AML candy cane Fluffy, and then when you get a snake, you start then watching all Brian Barczyk and everything back 8-9 years ago. And I was thinking, man, I would love a white corn snake. I like those snows. And luckily, the local pet store had a big female snow corn snake, and I bought it. It was $80, and I bought it, and then had that for a little bit, and thought, I want to see what happens if I can get some eggs. So I put Fluffy and Sundara together, and then she laid eggs. And at that time, I had a buddy he had a green tree python. And he was like, "Sup, bruh? Let's do a business, bruh." So we started just buying snakes, created the Solid Serpents. We just had different. I wanted just to hang out with the animals. He wanted to do more of a business thing. So then we went our separate ways. And by that time, we had acquired a bunch of different snakes from random places without really thinking. And that's
Okay.
And then after that is when I finally was able to narrow it down to, I want motley. I want to make the most perfect motley corn snakes in the history of the world. All my corn snakes are going to be perfect motleys, and then other random things here and there. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. Is you just start collecting. Takes a couple of years to figure out really what you want to do, and then that's where I am now.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know you do work a lot with corn snakes. I don't know if you saw the title of the episode before we got started.
Yeah, your favorite. It's your favorite, your gopher snake that you love so much that you just actually, everybody that's watching, Joe actually really hates gopher snakes. He thinks they're the bottom. He would rather.
I do not hate. There is no hate in my heart for gopher snakes, I promise. But with that said, I think they're underrated, and I think what like Jason's working with, and I know you have some of the stuff and what you're working with on the gophers. I think they're really cool, and I think they can be relatively underrated. There's a lot of cool stuff, and Pituophis in general. Although bull snakes are popular, but all the stuff with gophers, I think, is just the amount of animals, and then genetics and different looks and stuff, I think is overall underrated.
Yeah, I think they are too. There's a couple of reasons, but yeah, they haven't popped off yet. That's for sure. But they are cool. I like them. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you think it is that's like keeping them out of the limelight, perhaps?
Well, the biggest thing is that you and I and most people probably watching your podcast and other Colubrid Radio, reptile podcasts each week, we are in a reptile bubble, so we have to get out of that bubble and get our mindset into the mind of a normie or a non-snake person. So a gopher snake does not have, no matter how much it's cool, it doesn't have the things that really make it pop. Like the top 3 pets right now that are snakes: ball pythons, hognose, corn snakes. A ball python, a pied ball python to a normie, you can't beat that. A normal person's going to look at a pied ball python and go, dang, that's freaking rad. No matter what, they love that. A corn snake has a candy cane look, the black or the white, the red, the things that really pop. And then the stupid little hognose, even though they're all a shade of tan and gray, no matter what, they have those little stupid anime boopable faces, right? And especially in this day and age with social media, you put a camera up to a little hognose, to a top hat on it, it looks dopey and people love it. Yeah. So those 3 things, the eye popping, the coloration, and then the personality and that one distinguishable trait from a hognose, a gopher snake, it doesn't have that to the normal person. Now, to you and I, we can look at a wild type gopher snake, and then we can look at like Jason Nelson's Metallica line gopher snake and think, oh, that thing's freaking awesome. Which it is, but it doesn't have anything that really pops compared to those other 3. So I think that's really what is holding it back to the normal person. And then also the hissiness, to us, we think it's funny because we know it's not going to do anything. It's just sassy. But when a gopher snake hisses, it's spooky. It scares the normal person. Like my nieces are over, or my kids' friends are over, and I pull out a gopher snake. They're holding it, but then it hisses. They're like, "Ooh, no, I don't want it anymore." Even though we know it's not going to do anything. The normal person doesn't know that, and it's spooky. So I think those 2 things really hold it back. And then also we need someone, we need a good marketer to push it, like Snake Discovery. I know she was pushing the bull snakes for a bit, but if we can get somebody like that, whatever that Ed and what's her name? Ed and Snake Discovery gal?
Emily.
If whatever they choose to push more than once, that's going to gain popularity. So we need someone like that is able to reach out to the non-snake people and show that, hey, this gopher snake is cool. It's nice. And then you're on the East Coast, so what do you think about this? Because gopher snakes are West Coast animals. I feel like, at least for me being in Utah, I'm on the West. Most trends in the snake hobby come from the East Coast or the Midwest to East, just because maybe the population is more condensed. And I know Clint and Zach have talked about how Pituophis are not nearly as relevant or prevalent in the expos over there. So
yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I definitely see like bull snakes and stuff. Like I'll see some bull snakes at shows, but that's the biggest extent of it. And that honestly goes for a lot of things. I see the biggest range of animals not from shows. It's more so from seeing the cool friends that you and I are both connected with on social media that are throughout the country, and they're like the niche breeders and whatnot. But you're right. Pituophis are definitely less prevalent over here in general than probably over on your side of the country. And I haven't seen your reptile expo, so I don't know what to make of yours, but yeah.
I would say even at ours, I mean, I went to Pomona last year, and then I'll go to Pomona again this year. I'd say even then there's Jason, Envy Reptiles, and then Glenn. Those 2, you'll see other gopher snakes scattered on tables, but those 2 are the only ones that are really working with actual big one. I guess Summer's she's the snake keeper's daughter. The snake keeper's old school. He's one of the founders in the ball python, and now he does purely the
TSK
packing.
You're talking about.
TSK, yeah, he's based. Yeah. Well, he's based here in my city where I live, so his warehouse is here. So Summer is here. I feel like she's focusing more on bull snakes, but she does have gopher snakes as well. So she's up and
Nice.
coming. She makes some good videos and is putting out some cool stuff. But yeah, there's not many people that are really pushing gopher snakes much across the board. And then if they are, Jason and Summer are putting out videos. Glenn takes the most amazing pictures of snakes, but he's not putting out videos on social media much. So yeah, people just they're not putting out pictures and cool stuff of gopher snakes and showing them every day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where you gotta come in.
That's what I'm trying. It's nice that I had this big female. If anybody has watched that Pituophis or the gopher snake video that me and Jason did, I've had this big San Diego female for years that's just been sitting here. I had no one good to breed her with. Jason had this killer powerhouse male that we were really just planning on making some hets. I let him take that girl last winter. Stupid cat. But then we bred it and she laid 11 good eggs and they all popped out. It was like a ball python video because, ball python clutches, you never know what you're going to get because there's so many genes in there.
Right.
So this one, we popped it up and even Jason was like, dude, this is rad. We got so many cool things that popped out of that. So that was a really fun video. So I have one of the holdbacks. He kept a couple. There's still a bunch of those babies that are available. If you look at the my YouTube page, it has that one.
Nice.
Or he's posted them on Morph Market. But yeah, I wish we could get more videos of that, just showing the cool stuff and how cool these gopher snakes really are.
Definitely. No, I hear you. I mean, sometimes it takes it takes a couple hands to be blasting on social media a lot.
Well, also, I wonder on the West Coast, because it's pretty dry here, and I wonder, I don't know if Zach has mentioned this before, if the humidity maybe makes it tough over there. I know they do need a lot of ventilation if it is humid, but I don't know about that. They're so easy to take care of. I've kept one at room temperature just because I've tested things out before for a couple of years with corn snake and gopher snake. I've kept them at room temperature for over a year. Everything was fine. They did great. I mean, room temperature for me is still pushing around 72 degrees. So,
yeah. And I know people around here, on the East Coast can still take care of snakes like subox, but yes, they do need to give them plenty of ventilation to make them like good because they're sensitive to humidity.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I struggle with humidity with snakes, so it's harder for me to keep something with my ball pythons and then even the African house snake sometimes because it's so dry. It does, and my Ridley eye even as well. It sometimes gets stuck shed because it's so dry here. Because Utah is a desert. We're a cold desert.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pituophis, they're easy to take care of. They're great eaters. They're big. I got some stuff to play show and tell. You ready?
Go for it.
So here in Utah we have the Great Basin gopher snakes, and their Latin name or their fancy scientific name, which I'm still not good at because I'm not a science boy, but it reminds me of people my age that are 40 and older. We used to get a quarter and go to the local Albertsons or Safeway, go to the Shasta machine, and the soda pops would have all random names. So this Latin name is Desert E. Cola. It reminds me of an old soda pop called Desert Cola. I buy for 25 cents. So the Pituophis Desert Cola. So this is one that I bred. This is the one that's in the picture here. So this is pretty much what a typical, when you're out herping, this is what you're going to find here in Utah. They do vary. Okay. This is a prettier version. But go to the light. So this is when you're out cruising, you're going to find this. And I produced her back in 4 years ago or so. But they have more of a chocolatey saddle. There is some orange that comes through. Like I said, she's prettier than others because both her parents were collected by my buddy 10, 12 years ago. And collected them because they were both pretty. So she's a little above average. But overall, this is pretty much what they're going to look like. Now, one thing, they do not hold on nearly as well as a corn snake or a rat snake, which is a downside.
They're not as built for climbing, I assume.
No, they're not arboreal. They'll climb, but they're not. I mean, maybe someone has found one up in a tree, but you're gonna usually find them on the ground. They dig in holes.
Yeah.
Gopher snakes. They're gonna eat quails eggs. But that's basically what you're gonna find and what they look like here in Utah and Nevada. Nice. Down to where's their? These things go all the way up to British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. Northern. I don't know how far down into Arizona they go, into California. I think it's when you're driving from Vegas. Maybe you've never done this drive, but you go to Vegas through the desert right before you go down into the valley. I think that's about the end of their range, and that's where you get those cool golden. Oh, I don't know what their name is. They're a certain locale that's really pretty of Great Basins there in California.
Okay. Nice.
But Great Basins are what I really like, just because they're around here, and it's what I herp and can find every night of the June, July, August, September, which is awesome. I got it.
I'm going to quickly address this in the chat because a few people just replied to it. What is the best first snake for non-reptile people? Can you get one and not feed it mice? That whole statement is an extremely loaded question. But to answer the second half of your question, because that one's pretty cut and dry, the answer is no. Any snake that would make a good first pet is going to eat rodents. So yeah, I would say you have to be prepared for that. There are snakes that don't eat rodents or don't need to necessarily, but they are not beginner person snakes. They're usually a bit harder to take care of to some extent. And there's a lot of extents. I didn't want to get too deep into that, but for the most part, a lot of the snakes we're talking about tonight can make good first pets. Corn snakes, especially the colubrid side. But yeah, so just again,
I mean, you could get a gopher snake and purely feed it bird eggs if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But that's hard. That makes your life very difficult.
Yeah. But yeah. And Mike, obviously you're working a lot with corn snakes. I know you mentioned motley is like your favorite. Honestly, it's one of my favorite pattern mutations on the corn snakes. Both of the corn snakes I have are motleys.
Rock on.
So yeah, let's talk about your corn snake collection a little bit and what you're trying to do on that end.
So the cool thing with Fluffy, that snake, my very first snake, Fluffy, he actually turned out to be het motley, and I didn't know because the snow that I paired him with, Thundera, she was motley, and then half the babies she produced that very first in 2018. The very first clutch was 19 eggs, and half of them came out motley, which was awesome. So I kind of just kept here. I'll show you a good one. A lot of people, I see this a lot with snakes that are posted motley, and then it's only motley halfway down, which I don't know how yours are. So here's a girl of mine. So this is a motley for anybody watching. A motley are the spots on the back, the dot spots, whatever you want to call them. So this is what I consider a near perfect motley, where she has perfect spots all the way down to above the vent, right where the cloaca and the tail are, right? So that's the type of motley that I want. I want motleys that go all the way down, not just these half motleys, and then it turns into a normal, kind of just regular saddle. I want motleys that are just perfect all the way down. So this is what I'm working with. Everything I get from here on out, I'm going to pair up, keep the best motley. Or like her, I'm going to eventually pair her with one of my other perfect mollies. And then,
Okay.
have perfect mollies. And
Nice.
it doesn't matter with their genes. It's purely going to be, I don't care if they're normal, anery, amel. I have some cool lavender motleys and some other dilute stuff that I'm going to be working with. But right now, it's just going to be holding back what is the best, not this half-assed motley, the true, real motleys.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So, man, this one's so fat. This is such a weird little snake. It reminds me of those bantams that are at that one, at like this girl she's weird. This one, I don't know why. It's just a weird snake.
Just small.
Yeah, it feels like those bantams too. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're a big dude also, so I don't think I could get a good perspective of size compared to you.
Yeah. I guess that's the one thing. It's kind of like my kids. I was watching since I've raised these snakes, I just always in my mind they're still little babies. It's like my kid. He was playing basketball with all his buddies yesterday, and in my mind he's still little. And then I see him with all his friends, and he's the biggest, like buffest one out there. I'm like, okay, well maybe he's not nearly as little as I think.
Yeah.
So it's with my snakes as well. I kind of think the same. Like, why is this one so little? And then I realized, oh, okay, I guess it's just normal.
Eric wants to know if that motley had scaleless.
Nope, don't believe so. And Eric, how about that Packers-Bears game? I know you and your wife were sweating snake scales over there. Anybody who watched that game, that's what I was telling Joe before. I'm glad that ended right when it did, because that game was about to go into overtime. Yeah. No, I don't think I have any scaleless in my collection. I mean, but something could pop out one day. But as of now, I do not. Which it'd be cool to have. I wouldn't mind having a scaleless corn snake. They're cool.
Nice. I'm liking the chat interaction tonight. How often do you have to feed a corn snake, gopher snake? How do you know when you need to feed them? I would say that depends on the size of the meal and the size of the snake. If you're feeding a baby snake, I would typically recommend every 5 days probably as they get started, because you're feeding very small pinkies, which have very little nutritional value because they're just balls of mush. When you get them up and upgrade their food size, I typically say every 7 days or so. Appropriate size meals as they keep getting older. I tend to do every 7 days still, and just appropriate size meals depending on the snake. That's me at least. How do you know when you need to feed them? Yeah, I just tend to do it on a schedule. Sometimes miss a week here or there. It's not the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, just doing it on a schedule. And yes, both myself and Mike sell snakes. Yeah. All right, cool. So, now looking at everything, like how big is your little collection? How many animals are you working with over there?
Species wise, well, let's start with species. So I have gophers, and then I out of the gophers I have Great Basin and San Diego, and then I have one that's actually a hybrid, or not a hybrid, an intergrade. It's half Pacific, half Great Basin, and it's one I produced as well. When I was first starting out, I thought, I'm just gonna throw in a Great Basin with a Pacific. So that's this one, and it looks rad. So the mom was a Pacific stripe, and the dad's a Great Basin to that other one that I showed you. So it's a cool looking snake. It's really pretty. But really the Great Basin and the San Diego's for gopher snakes, then the corn snakes. I love rat snakes, and I have the big four. So Texas, a black, a Florida, and a gray. I don't have a Baird's, the Slowinski, Transpecos. Am I missing any of the rat snakes? I think those are really the main ones.
Technically, fox snakes. I don't know if you have any of
Oh,
those.
fox snakes would be rad. I love looking at those. And I know there's two. There's someone in the chat can help, probably Eric. The one that has more, I don't know if it's the eastern or the western, the one that has more of the red head of those fox snakes.
Yeah, that I'm not sure about. I've honestly never given them much of a look or consideration, to be completely honest.
Yeah, those anytime someone posts a good fox snake, I just think, oh man, what a cool snake that is. So I have the fox, and then I have a pair of Japanese rat snakes. I have a pair of Ridley eye. I have one house snake. I had two. I had a black one, which I loved to death, but sometimes I forget to close tubs and enclosures just because I get scattered brain. And then the stinking snake got out, and it was gone for 3 months. And just when I found it down in the basement fighting with the cat, it just didn't survive after that. So that stinks.
Oh shoot.
But I love that black house snake. It was cool. And then I have ball pythons because I wanted to make some money back in the day.
Yeah.
So the colubrids I got because I love them no matter what. I will always have colubrids because they're freaking cool. Rat snakes, gophers, like I said. The ball pythons I bought because, it was trendy back in 2019. So I bought a bunch. And I'm glad that I bought the ones that I did, calico and hypo. So at least I have that. But
nice.
Hear that, little stupid idiot? That's why people.
I actually did.
That's why these are not the best pet. It's because of that. Because they just start hissing, a little kid's gonna get scared and throw it. So.
Yeah, back when I worked at a pet store, my memory of Pituophis was we had a big bull snake. And every time you took that mofo out, he would just start hissing like bad. He was loud, and just those loud, like deep hisses that they would do, and then he would always mock strike. I don't think he ever bit me, but he would always love just like kind of lunging at you, but not tagging.
Well, and a bull snake has some of those heads are as big as a cat, I feel like. I go over to Jason's a lot, and some of those bull snakes he has, their heads are as big as my fist. They're spooky, and they have the grumpy eyebrows. They're hissing.
Yeah,
a bull snake can be quite intimidating, and I'm naturally jumpy. Like if you ever watch a scary movie with me, I get jumpy. So a bull snake, it's hissy and jumpy. I'm like, even though I know it's not going to do anything, it's just naturally frightening.
Right.
But yeah, cool. The main things is I don't know if I'm gonna the rat snakes. I don't know if I'm gonna breed anything with rat snakes this year. The corn snakes, I have a couple pairings that I'm gonna do just because they're special projects. And then maybe the Japanese rats. The female is a big. She's cool and she's big, so probably do the Japanese rats. But 2 corn snake pairs, the Jap rats, and everything else. I'll see how it's looking in March.
Okay. With all the North American stuff you're keeping, what made you take the jump to a couple of those Asian species that you got over there?
Oh, freaking Jason Nelson. He's like, oh, I know you like these. Do you want them? I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. Because I'd go over to his house when he was gone. When he goes and does herping trips, I'll go over to his place and watch his snakes and make sure things are okay. And I always love that, especially that green Japanese rat snake. There's the natural one, not the Kunashir Island, just the mainland one. It's hard to beat the look of that because it is green. Have you ever seen a full-grown one in person of a Jap rat?
In person, I don't think I have.
So they're this green, beautiful color with specks of black on the scales. It's really pretty. So they're better than the albino. They're one of those that you don't really need a morph, kind of like a rainbow boa, other type of snakes where you don't need the Mollendorfi. You don't need a morph of it because just the natural wild type is so cool. So the
Yeah.
green Japanese rat snake, it was so cool. He was like, I was thinking of selling these, but they're kind of skinny. Do you want them? You'll be able to take care of them. So he just gave me that pair. Same with the Ridley
Nice.
eye.
Cool. You enjoying those snakes?
The Japanese rats, I mean, they're probably one of the most active ones that I have because the female's in this big tub right here. So this room is all ambient. I have a heater and I keep the blinds open, so it's naturally sun. The sun comes in and out. It's
Yep.
daylight. But I would say those ones are the most active, no matter what, which is kind of fun to see when I come in here. They're always out and moving. She's this female. She's super food aggressive. So no matter what, if I go in there, she's ready to attack. So I don't handle her much. The albino, he's more chill, but the main female.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fun. They're cool. The Ridley eye they're such weird the Ridley eye are such weird snakes compared to any other. The Japanese rats, they act more like a North American rat snake. The Japanese rats or the Ridley eye, they act, I don't know, they're strange. After they're done hissing and musking their sweet smelling musk, because their musk is sweet. It's gross, but it's sweet. They kind of then just will go boom, and they'll go limp a little bit when you're holding them. I don't know what that is. I was watching Dan DM Exotics video a few weeks ago, and he was holding one of his Grabowski, which is basically a giant Ridley eye, and it kind of was doing the same thing. Where after a while, it just started going limp. So, if anybody else has dealt with, I know the Zirkles would be awesome to ask about that, but if anybody else is watching and they've had that same thing, I wonder if that's a defense mechanism or what that is with the Ridley eye. It's weird.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't kept any to observe that. So
they're really pretty. They're just that's another one that it's not a beginner snake. It needs more humidity than I can provide at the moment, just because Utah's hard. They kind of their shed kind of sucks.
I was going to ask that along with the Japanese rat snakes. Are you having to do anything special with care in your room because of their kind of needs, or what are you doing?
Not the Japanese rats. Japanese rats are perfect. They almost shed better than every other snake. The Ridley I've had to throw in some moss in there, and they're in more of an enclosure that doesn't have much ventilation at all in there, so that helps, but they still get stuck shed. The ball pythons I have to, water down a lot. But everything else is typically fine. With the amel corn snakes, one thing I learned early on is most snakes, when the tip of their, maybe you've noticed this, the tip of the tail, the skin doesn't always come off, and sometimes you don't notice it. So that's why you get that little tip of the tail falling off. So every amel, and I tell this to people that I sell my amels to, is just once they shed, check the tip of the tail, because unless you really get in there and look, you're not going to notice it, and then eventually the tip is going to fall off, which happens. So the Ridley eye, it's more just keeping them in less ventilated and throw in more water and moss. But everything else is typically pretty good.
Got it. Cool. How was this past breeding season? What went on for you over there?
So I didn't do, because there's really one thing I don't, it's hard for me because I want to breed, but then I look at all the snakes that are out there and being produced, and then it makes me not want to breed. So I don't know. I'm sure a lot of smaller breeders are in the same spot where I don't have to breed anything, but I want to, because there's certain projects and things that I want, like my motleys, like the lavender motleys that I'm going to be working on. There's things that I want to breed, but I hate adding into this market that is so full of snakes already. So this season, I only did 2 clutches. I did I guess technically 2.5 because of that joint Gopher snake project, but that was fine. So I did my corn snake where I paired up my Ultramel Anery Tessera to my lavender motley, and he turned out proving to be het lavender. So it was only 5 eggs, but they were all bangers, and then one came out an Ultramel lavender. tessera. So that was pretty awesome. And then I did a locale gopher snake, the Great Basin gopher snake, and there was only 4 babies with that. But there's there's a Jason Nelson and his friends had found a spot here in Utah where it's a new morph maybe, but it has this look that's just washed out. It's almost a patternless. They call it the Gopher Gulch. So we've all been trying to prove it out. I have a male, so I paired it to my normal female and got 4 babies. So now we're just all keeping those, and then going to eventually pair them all together, pair hets together, and see if it actually proves out. So that's all I did this year was a small clutch of corn and a small clutch of gophers.
Nice. Okay. Gotcha.
But with those, I mean, those are all projects. It's not just I'm breeding just to breed. It all has a future to it, which is good.
No, totally understood. And I mean, that's fair. I would hope that's the case. Of just breeding just to breed. I am curious to kind of expand on your mentality of not wanting to make snakes to like add to the more that's like out there for sale. Would you say, I'm trying to phrase this in a way that I want it to come across properly. So yes, you said your it's like had a purpose, animals you wanted to hold back, maybe some stuff you wanted to sell. Would you say if you were to do more pairings, it would just be stuff you didn't necessarily want for yourself and you just be selling like entire clutch and that's why you don't want to do that? Or
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, because I have a pair that I love. It's a cream. I have a butter tessera corn snake, and when I pair him to my creamsicle corn snake, these babies come out freaking awesome soda pop orange. They're beautiful. They're bright. I've kept a few back just because they're awesome. And if there was a guaranteed market where I could sell these babies every day to people that, I love my soda pop orange snakes. They're freaking cool. I just don't want to pair. I just don't want to breed them and then just breed them to breed them because I don't need to keep anymore, and I don't really want to. I don't know if it makes sense in my mind. They're beautiful orange soda pop snakes, and I love when they pop out because they're so pretty. But I mean, at that point, I'm just making cool looking orange snakes just to make them. When there's already people out there that are breeding snakes no matter what. Or you can just go buy some of theirs. I just don't need to breed it. I want to breed it because it looks cool, but do I need to? I don't need to.
Fair. I was going to say the only, I mean, I'll play devil's advocate because I'd still consider myself a smaller breeder. I've done pairings that other people have done before, and I've still been able to sell the animals I wanted to sell. So don't sell yourself short. Because you think that you're not going to be able to sell them on a public marketplace or because you think it's oversaturated. I think, if you make the stuff you want to make and market it the right way, I think you could still make those sales. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure I could, especially now that I know more people I could just label soda pop orange, corn snakes, which they really are. Unless they're one of those mandarins that the mid-American couple, they're super cool. But these aren't labeled a mandarin or anything super fancy. They just come out this cool color. So marketing wise, it's hard to give them a label, and the pictures, they don't ever do justice. So they would sell great in expos, but I don't like doing expos because I hate packing up all the babies and the cups, and then I don't want to bring anything home because of the diseases that might come home with me. So it's one of those things. It's hard. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, me and my kids vended. Me and my daughter vended in Idaho. Our very first show in Jerome, Idaho. We went up there, and then me and my kids did a show here in Salt Lake in 2020 during coronavirus. We all had to wear masks like stupid idiots the whole time, and then you're taking your mask off, but it was such a stupid whole ordeal. And then I've gone and helped out Jason and just put some animals up with him every now and then, and yeah. So that, yeah, it's hard on because I have a list of things that I want to do. I know for sure I'm going to pair up a few of them. And then I have these, maybe I will do these as well. And that includes ball pythons and a rat snake pairing. So I don't know for sure.
Nice.
I guess it depends.
Okay. Listen, that's fair. Yeah. And then going forward, what is it like? Are you looking to do more pairings down the line and turn into more of a breeder-esque, or do you think you want to stay more on that level that you're at right now, like kind of the middle ground of keeper breeder?
Shoot, I think it was maybe 3-4 years ago that I'd had, I think, 6 clutches of corn snake eggs, and that was that was a lot for me. I mean, I can sell everything, and I held back some, so I could see myself going maybe that 5 clutches 1 year, maybe, but it really just depends
Yeah.
at this point. If I'm breeding corn snakes, I'm doing it purely for my own, I'm doing it just for the certain, like the motley. I want to have the best motleys. I'm doing it for my own selfish reasons. And then I know I can easily sell snakes if I need to. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with, everything I'm doing is, if I'm going to breed, it's because I want 1 or 2 of the babies from that clutch. So I don't know. When it comes to breeding, that's not a priority to me. Really, it's just at this point I'm raising stuff up, and then we'll breed what I want to and need for a certain project. If that makes sense.
Gotcha. Cool. Purple Church in the chat asks, what's the origin story behind the name Solid Serpents?
Oh, that's one with the bro friend that I had. Like when we were trying to come up with a business name, he's like, "What should the business be?" And I was literally typing out. I was typing out 100 mountain snakes, high altitude snakes, cool snakes, rad snakes, solid serpents. And then he said, "Oh, solid serpents is cool." I said, "All right, cool." It's like it's one of those. So that's where it came from. It was just I typed out a billion names, and solid serpents was what popped up.
Nice. All right.
I thought about trying to change it to something more unique, but at this point, it's yeah, whatever.
Hey, if that's your label, that's your label.
I know. So I got this. I try to get a cool, Viking looking snake here as the logo, which looks cool. So yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I got more show to tell since we're on the breeding topic. This is one pairing that I for sure I'm going to do. Because I've had Fade, which is one of my favorite corn snakes, but I've had this female. So this is just a normal Tessera, but I hatched her in 2020, and I've just loved how messy she is, right? So she's just freaking rad, and she's a daughter of Stinkamella and Tuna, a couple of my mainstays. So Fade, however, came out, and he's a son of Butter and what I was talking about, Butter and Creamsicle. And he came out. He looks like a normal, right? A normal Tessera, Amel, until you get to right about here, and he starts to fade out. You see that?
Yes.
So his color starts to wash out and his pattern. So I've called him Fade. I have produced him before, and his daughter from a couple of years ago has a similar look, but it's not nearly as far up. It only goes up to about right here. So I have been planning for the last 5-6 years just to pair them up when they're at size. So Fade is for sure one of the projects, like my Motley, that I want to keep working with this line to see where this goes.
Nice.
So on my list of 2, like I said, that I'm going to be doing for sure, the Motley, and then this pairing is, I'm going to for sure be working on the Fade line because I want to see where it goes. I held one of his daughters back, and then I'll keep one of the sons back from this if it shows, and then I will go ahead and.
Eric says to test Fade for Terrazzo.
Which one, for the female or the male? I guess he's talking about the female. Kind of looks Terrazzo-y.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as savvy with my corn snake morphs.
Yeah, terrazzo, I believe, is the one that gives it this weird, like, she has the stuff that I like is just messy, broken up, tests for a pattern.
He's saying I think the male.
Oh, really? Huh. Interesting. Yeah, cool. Maybe. I've never thought of that.
Yeah, shed testing's a cool thing. So we could do that now, at least for a few things on the corn snake side.
Yeah, I know so they have lavender and scaleless and terrazzo, I know, is one of them.
And I believe albino. It's those four.
I think everything has had albino, actually.
Yeah. I also want to talk about you've been doing quite a bit in terms of YouTube videos. I'm curious to kind of hear how that journey has been going for you.
Man, that's one of those things I wish I would have really jumped on that 5-6 years ago. If you look at my YouTube, I've always, over the past, since 2019 or so, I've always just thrown up stupid little videos, but I've never really cared. It's just a video here and there. And then the last year, I've really thought, why not? Maybe if I can just make some decent videos. Mainly, the idea is I want to make videos that I would want to see if I was a noob. If I was just getting into snakes, where can I go to see stuff? Because snake discovery, Brian Barczyk obviously was the very first. He was the one that I learned and got the most information from. And then there was another guy at Port City Pythons, Joe, but he's not around anymore. He was the top corn snake video guy for me 8 years ago as well, but he stopped. And then snake discovery was awesome when she first started, but now she's gone into this whole different. I don't watch her videos anymore because they're just, I don't care. I don't want to see it. So a lot of my videos, if you noticed, it's ones that I want to make. And then when someone asks me a question, what do I need for this snake? What's going to be the best? I've made a video and I can send it right to the person who wants to buy a snake from me or has a question. Instead of me typing stuff out, which you can't explain, I just send them the link to my video. Hey, watch this. This will explain basically everything you need to know about what do you need, the type of care, how are they, how do they move, how big are they. I want to make videos like that I can send to people. They're not based for people like you and me and people watching the chat.
Right.
They're more for noobs that want questions, and instead of me typing out a text message that may not make sense, they can actually just watch the video. So that was my main thought. Yeah, it's just a visual guide, really.
Yeah, I've watched a few of your videos. I think you do a good job. Obviously, you have good camera and audio quality, which is like just, and lighting, which are like the main things. Like as long as those things are good, you can make a good YouTube video. So in my opinion,
I know that's the biggest thing. Of course, that's what I was worried about doing this. I was thinking, man, I've never done a live video before. I don't want to look like a. So anybody who's watching this who has done or is going to do a podcast, please have good audio first of all, so I can hear you. And then lighting is not nearly important for these live podcasts because it's mainly listening, especially with Joe's. But have a good microphone, and hopefully this stupid little thing that I bought sounds good for everybody listening. Because it's hard when you or CCR, Animal Fight Club, anybody, Reptile Fight Club has a podcast guest on and their microphone sucks, Yeah. It's hard for me because I want to listen to this information. I listen in the shower. I listen when I'm driving. And if you are silent, it's hard to hear and I can't listen. So.
No, of course. Unfortunately, as a podcast host, a lot of times what the guests use technology is out of my control, and I have to just work with what's given. So
that's the hard part.
Shit happens sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. So I hope that this is turning out because I have no idea.
No, it's good. Promise.
Good.
Listen to it back. Don't worry.
But also back with the
Well, cool,
YouTube,
man.
I think I'm 110 subscribers away from hitting 1,000. So if you're watching, go
Yes.
subscribe and type in Joe in a comment, and then once I hit 1,000, maybe you will get a prize. Maybe.
Nice.
I promised that once with an stupid Instagram post. I said the winner of this gets a free sticker, and some guy won, and then he gave me his address. And then I was like, oh, that means I have to get an envelope, I have to get a stamp, I have to go to the post office. Like, there's a lot of work. I don't, so I texted the guy, I said, hey, sorry, I'm probably not going to send you that sticker. It's a lot of work. So I have to go across town. No.
But yeah, cool, man. I tagged your YouTube in the description here. So people should be able to
Awesome.
click from this video to your YouTube channel.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, another thing with the YouTube is I like doing those reptile expos like Colubrid Fest. I like going to the expos and talking to the vendors. A lot of the people who do the big expo videos like Dave Kaufman, they're great, but a lot of the time they're only talking to you see the same animal, especially at Tinley videos. It shows the same cool camel ball python in every video. You see the same stupid time.
Yeah, and they have their friends, so they're going to talk to those people in particular. So,
yeah, and I like seeing just the little local breeder that's the mom and the son. They have their cool little ball python or their cool little blue snake. I like talking to those people. They're kind of, because they're like me and you, that they're just small and they like doing it just because they like doing it, and I like that type of setup.
Yeah. I was pleasantly, happy to see myself in a couple YouTube videos from Colubrid Fest, which one included yours, so that was cool.
Yeah, you have some cool rat snakes, so.
Yeah, I'm trying. Hopefully some more babies to bring next year, for sure.
Yeah, that's another one I might do, because I have my Satanista is my blue-eyed Lucy rat snake, she's one of my most popular snakes just because she's so cool, and she was in a music video for a local band. And then I have
Nice.
I have a het Lucy male that I got from Jason, the Texas rat. He's really pretty, so if he's up to size in March, maybe I'll pair him with Satanista. But also I would hate for something wrong to go, for egg bound or anything with that snake, because she's downstairs. She's in the big 4x4. I decorated her enclosure to look like hell because she's Satanista. She was the nastiest snake in the world. She's chill now overall, but she lives in hell.
Yeah,
and exactly. I would hate for her to get egg bound or something bad to happen. That would be awful.
Yeah, no, of course I can hear your concern on that. Yeah, if you don't want to breed her, don't breed. If she's like that pet to you, then just don't even bother with the risk. But yeah, get yourself a different one. Like, if you really want to breed them, get yourself another one.
I know, that's the hard part.
I'm being serious.
Yeah, maybe. I just have I'm at the point where there's so many different species I would love to add, but I like having, especially rat snakes. I like having my rat snakes in the big enclosures because they do crawl around and move around so much. It's hard. Rat snakes are so hard because there's so many. There's more cool rat snake morphs than corn snake morphs. Really, the lemon blast, the blue-eyed Lucies, you have those cadmium whatever they're called, those weird ones.
Yeah.
And then you have the calicos. There's whether it's the grays or the Texas rats, the black rats. There's so many cool rat snake morphs. I want one of everyone, and it's bad. But they get big. They get huge. Like Deborah here. Yeah. I'll pull out Deborah for you. Which this is. Oh, it's nighttime. She almost got me there. Oh. That would have been a good video, huh? But like people on the East Coast. So here's Deborah. She's just a normal gray rat, but she's near 6 feet long, like legit. Like, she's a big girl, and I'm jealous of the people down in Alabama or Georgia that get to go out and catch these and find them. But I'm sure people that are in Alabama and Georgia are jealous that I get to go out and catch gopher snakes all the time.
Right.
But I like having these big rat snakes in these 4x2x2s because when you're 5.5 feet long, you're going to move around and use every inch of this.
Yep.
But the downside with the rat snakes is they freaking musk. And that's what she did. I swear she sweats musk. No, she's a cool snake. Like just a normal gray rat snake is underappreciated, right. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
My collection is kind of like my ADHD mind. It's just all over the place.
That's all right. So you kind of mentioned it in terms of, species you might want to get into. What is, kind of piquing your interest a bit, something that you maybe don't have yet, but something you'd like to add to the collection?
So being friends with Jason Nelson is a bad decision because I'll go over to his place and there's something new every time, whether it's a morph, like I mentioned the Metallica morph of Great Basin gopher snake. If you get a chance, look at his Metallica line. They're freaking rad. They're black and orange, but not basic orange. It's really bright. They're cool. I would love to get that, but also a year or so ago, I was holding some of his pine snakes, and I just thought, man, these are cool. Pine snakes are rad. So pine snake, I can't see. There's too many. You're asking me a question that is bad because I can't think like that. I can't think of what do I want to add. I can't.
Yeah.
Nope, I can't add anything. No, Joe.
Okay. I'm just honestly, it's more so curious, like where your interests lie, what you find interesting in the hobby, that you don't currently have. Because obviously, we could say we're interested, and I'm interested in plenty of stuff I know I'll never have. So yeah,
I think Mollendorfi is probably one of those that I don't think I've seen many. Maybe one was at Colubrid Fest. I've never seen one in person before, at least a big adult. So that I used to think Russian rat snakes would be rad, and I would love a Russian rat snake because it would fit how I keep perfectly. But lately, I've just thought, maybe I won't ever get one. You're gonna knock. Cats are the worst. Don't ever get a cat. Don't ever get mammals. That's for sure. Mammals are horrible. So mammals are the worst because they freaking are needy, and he's gonna knock. Shoo. Oh, you stupid idiot. All right. So he was gonna knock over this thing. But yeah, if I do get stuff, I think it would be something, a morph of a species that I already have. That's probably what I would get. North American, something that would fit with how I keep all these other ones for sure. So that's why I was thinking a pine snake would be cool. But if I had to get something that was something I didn't have, it would probably be a big boa just to eat because I breed rats. So I would like a snake that would eat the big rats that I need to retire. So I'd just get a big.
How many ball pythons do you have that you're breeding rats?
Well, I don't know. I have a lot of ball pythons, so I don't post them much. But I have 2 racks of ball pythons, of adults plus the babies, and then also I feel like she eats rats, so I'll feed.
Yeah,
it's just so cheap. It saves me $200 a month to have a 4 tub of rats.
Okay.
It's just once they get to that size where they're too big, I fed one to I have a big hypo female ball python who's just a giant, and she can eat an extra large rat. And I threw one in with her the other day, and rats are dangerous, and they bit the shit out of her head which I don't. That's
Oh,
why I don't like
really?
feeding live. She's fine, but they're just yeah. So, but no, I feed most of my things. I feed most of my snakes rats, pinky rats, and
Okay.
then I'll buy pinky mice and use those as well for my baby corns and other things. But yeah,
Nice.
it just saves money, right? And in this time,
Yeah, 100%.
and also I feel like there's no science behind this, but I feel like my animals look better when they're eating a live rat than who knows where this frozen mouse is from and what actually freezing a mouse does to the nutrients.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah, I have a big inability to get really live rodents anymore, which is in part of my it's a playing part to why I'm moving on from the ball pythons, just because
yeah,
some of them are not taking a first thought well. Some are, some just aren't. But I can't get live rodents out here. It's fucking annoying. Um,
really.
or I don't usually curse. I don't usually say that word on the podcast.
Wow.
But yeah,
Bad
I used to have I
Canceled.
used to have a guy. I used to have a guy, but he became too inconvenient for me, and then he got out of the hobby completely, so that went away. Tried hitting up another dude, and he was like, "I won't accommodate your order because it was too small." And I was like, "Well, shoot,
Oh,
I'm
really?
not paying. I'm not paying pet store prices." So yeah, I went
Yeah,
to
that's hard.
Frozen, and
Are you able to do even just a small colony at all in your garage or where you are? Just even just a
I
pair?
can't. I can't hear.
Huh. That's rough. ASFs don't
Yeah.
stink at all. I've bred rats, mice, and soft furs, and soft furs do not stink. It's weird. So if you want to hide
Yeah,
one under
no,
your
I, I've
bed,
I've heard that.
yeah, do some
I
soft
live with my
furs.
girlfriend. That's the problem.
Oh well, you're the man. Dang it, Joe. You
She'd
you know.
she'd hey, listen. I have 70 snakes here, and she wants none of them here. So let's just be happy I
Really?
have
Yeah,
these things here.
that's the that's probably why I will never get married. I'm single, so and I have snakes all in my bedroom, my kitchen, and I have a whole room. I don't think I would be able to live this setup if I had a domestic partner.
Yeah,
So
I hear ya.
at least I wouldn't be able
Um.
to keep them in the kitchen in the bedroom. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah. No, I hear you there. I'm in my own dedicated room.
Isn't that funny? I'm sure if you tell people, because you're probably like me, where you're the neighborhood snake guy or your work snake guy. So when people ask how many snakes do you have, and you say 70, they're like, "What? Oh man, how do you even
Yeah,
manage?" Like 70 is not really that. It's not that many. It's not that much.
they don't. Yeah, most people don't think much of it, or they think it's a lot. And I'm just like, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Um, anything, any topics I kind of missed for tonight that maybe you wanted to cover?
Um. No, I like. No, it's nice that you have this podcast because it's good to have chat that's dedicated to colubrids because it does seem like every other podcast out there eventually go. I mean, CCR obviously is a good one, but every other podcast it does tend to go back to pythons or lizards, which I like those and they're cool, but I don't care. I don't
Yeah,
want to hear about them because
right.
everybody talks about them. So it's nice to have a dedicated colubrid podcast, and it's nice that I like how
Yeah,
every person that you talk to, you push Colubrid Fest on because I don't know how you're in the Colubrid game and you're not wanting to go to Colubrid Fest. That's
hey, I
crazy.
gotta, I gotta do my job as Zach and Clint say. I am the cheerleader, so I have to do my cheerleading. So it's my job.
Yeah, I know it's close to Daytona, which I would love to go to Daytona one day, but I think people are just so set in their ways and they're kind of it's hard. It's expensive to travel. You can find a cheap flight, but then to get a
Oh, I don't
hotel and
blame.
feeding, it's
Yeah,
expensive.
listen. As much as I would want to see all my friends at the show, I understand why people aren't able to make the commitment to travel. It's not necessarily cheap. It's not. It's usually not super convenient either. So, you know, um,
It's also September is a sucky month to do anything, especially once you have kids because school's just started. For me, even
yeah,
it depend. I mean, scheduling is going to matter for Colubrids because my son is on the football team. He's going to be a junior next year. Football Friday night is football. So if he's on varsity, which he better be, he's putting in the work. I mean, if it is in a place like Fort Wayne, I'm not going to be able to go Friday night for sure because football, and there's no red eyes to Fort Wayne. There's no, I guess even nine, it would be 7 p.m. So if it's in somewhere like Texas, I'm sure I could get there at 5 a.m. easy on Saturday morning. But um, September is a rough month for people with kids because school's starting and there's sports. It's hard to
yeah.
travel in September.
But then again, it's a good snake month though.
I know
Like
it's hard. It's a
babies
balance.
hatch. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
Um,
Like I haven't
I
only
can't
in the
really
past few
complain.
years. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just me personally, I can't really complain. I've no part of it is affecting me too much, but I know it does for other people, so I
Yeah.
can't speak to it.
So yeah, no, Colubrid is cool. Expos are cool. I would like to see you. I would like to see a video from you. What's the close White Plains? Is that an expo
Yeah.
that's normal by you?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a video of a White Plains expo.
It's I mean, look, it's the show that's around in New York. It's a very well-known show. It's been around for a very long time. In my opinion, I've gone a couple times since moving back up here. It's nothing special to me.
Oh, really?
I would like to vend it at some point just because I think what I have to offer is a little bit different than the norm. Um, but I've gone and nothing crazy. In my opinion, some of the biggest people there are flippers or questionable sources. So I'm just
Oh,
like,
that stinks. That's the worst.
yeah,
I wonder if there are any show promoters out there that would kind of make it mandatory that whatever you're selling, you have to have produced, and if there's a way to actually.
it's it's not necessarily a problem of having produced it or not. It's a problem of if you're reselling animals, are they in good condition? Because I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think all flippers should get the hey, reselling snakes bad. Like if people do that and do a good job at it, just some of them suck at it at the same time. And a lot of times
yeah,
the
that's
sucky
true.
ones are at like small local shows. So
Yeah, I mean, one of this snake that's in here, I got from a local pet store, and it was labeled an Everglades rat snake, and it was for $35 from a local pet store that up in Salt Lake County, which I'm sure it just came in a big grab bag of wild caught. Who knows where it came from? So I don't even know what it is. I just call it a hobby rat snake because I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've posted up and people said it looks kind of like an Everglades, but I don't know what it is. Um, so that's the hard part as well, is you really don't know what your animal is or what's in it from those resellers.
right.
Sometimes you do if it's like you said, a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. One of the White Plains I went to, I thought about recording, um, but then I was just like, nah, I'm good. I
Yeah.
didn't think it would be worth it. I was gonna do a video and I just didn't.
Hmm. So do you have any like snake friends up there in New York now, or such a big place, New York?
Not really, honestly. I mean, Antoine from Captain Bread Studio, he's over in Staten Island. He breeds all the southwestern Colubrid,
Okay, he
Transbacos.
was he on yours? Was he on your podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he had some cool stuff.
He was. He's over in Staten Island. He's not super close to me, but he's like close enough in my area.
Yeah. See, it's guys like that I wish would post up more videos, that would post up cool, high quality videos of their unique stuff.
Yeah. And Dr. Whitman is like semi close by, but not really at the same time.
Oh, cool. Where are you hoping Colubrid Fest would be? What's Philadelphia probably made you happy? Or wherever they said.
Because like Pennsylvania is very lax on the laws. I don't know what we can't have there. Possibly like black rat snakes. Maybe just not normals. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's my problem. I don't know what the laws are in each state. But yeah, closer to the East Coast obviously is more preferable to me. PA would be super close. It would be shorter than both the drives I've done already. Fort Wayne, sure. Honestly, wasn't that bad of a drive, but I agree with you. I don't like the city. I like the venue. I don't like the city.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. Is
although food was surprisingly good.
Yeah, I went out. I don't even remember the name of the people that I went out with for that dinner on Saturday, but yeah, we went to an Italian restaurant. It was good. But there's two people that are coming. There's people who are going to vend, so they're going to kind of be too exhausted and worried about vending. Then they don't really want to probably go out and hang out and party afterwards. There's people like me who just go. This is their one really adult vacation of the year, and they're choosing to go to Fort Wayne, Indiana, on their one adult vacation alone without kids or family. So I want to go out. A place like Philadelphia would be cool. Texas, somewhere that I can go to the show, but then right after I can go kick it around the city and enjoy a different atmosphere that I've never experienced before. So, and in Fort Wayne, it just wasn't anything there. It really wasn't. It just was kind of on the side of a road. There wasn't even a restaurant or gas station that I could walk to across the street, which was rough.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll be finding out soon enough.
Yeah, that's a hard thing for those guys to find a right one, and then the license and the permits, like you said, what can you have and what can you not have? And then you have to take, well, what if it doesn't allow hognose? Well, oh no, can't show hognose. Oh boy, oh wow. Not enough. The ball python of the colubrid world secretly dance for joy. See, Eric, this is why me and the Westmorelands are pals.
Hey, you heard it from Eric.
I know,
but I agree. So, yeah. All right, Mike. I have some wrap-up questions for you, and then we can call it a night here. At least it's early for you. It's a lot later over here for me.
But, oh yeah, it's 7 p.m. here.
Yeah, that's nice. All right,
I can go play some League of Legends now.
All right, there you go. Yeah, so you mentioned you've been doing this for some time, and you've kind of found what you like keeping in the hobby and what your kind of niche is. But what's really a big motivator for what keeps you going with the reptiles? Keep doing what you're doing every day.
I think it's the learning part. It's fun to learn about the snakes within the snakes, like the rat snakes here, just learning the different type of rat snakes, seeing how they vary and seeing where they come from, seeing how other people are what other people are making out of them is fun. The community, I mentioned this when I stood up at Colubrid Fest, how the community, it's impossible for adults. I mean, if you're not married, if you don't have a church group, you don't, I work at home, it's impossible to really meet and make friends as a grown up. And that sounds weird,
Right.
but like it's hard to find somebody just to talk. Like, where else am I going to talk snakes with? Right? I can go to the pet
Yeah.
store and make friends with them. I like going to the expos. So it's nice to have someone to share a hobby with, which is cool. So that keeps me going. And then in the summertime, the herping, I've that's another thing I did growing up in Seattle is I would hike. We'd go on hiking camping trips all the time. So I love being outside and being in nature. And right where I live, right here, within a 20-mile radius, I can go this way, this way. I want to go catch bullfrogs tonight. I'm going to go right there. I want to go find some racers, rattlesnakes, obviously the gopher snakes. I got my owl spots. I want to see some skunks or raccoons. All right around here there's animals. And if anybody ever wants to come here in June, give me a chat. I'll take you out and we'll go on a nice little Utah adventure. So
Nice.
that's another big thing is, I would love to be rich. I need to pull off one of those Somalian schemes and make $1 billion so I can get myself a nice camera and do some really cool video of the critters I find. So that's another huge thing is I just love to, I love going out and looking for critters. That's
Nice.
those are the big
Awesome,
things
man.
that drive me. Yeah.
Very cool. We kind of talked about this already, but what would you say like the next 3 to 5 years looks like for you at Solid Serpents? What's on the horizon?
I think, well, obviously the motley and then that fade thing. I want to keep those lines going. And then just keep making friends, meeting people. Once my youngest son is graduated, I will be able to have more time because it's hard when they're in sports. I've
Right.
been divorced and doing this single dad thing for 15 years. And this is
Okay.
the very first year that I haven't coached any kids sports. So for the last 11, 12 years, every season I was coaching one of my kids. There was even one season I coached all 3 basketball teams in one. So it was like,
Oh,
we got to go here, here, here. So this has been the first year where I haven't been coaching anything. So I don't really have to worry about practice on Wednesday nights, at games Saturdays. My kids are older and 2 are out of the house. I'm just down to 1 left. I can actually travel and go out and do some things, which for the first, my youngest son was 8, 9 months old when I got divorced.
okay.
So my only priority up until recently has been my kids. So it was kids first, then I would work, and then maybe I would go hang out with somebody. So I actually can finally go out and be a grown-up human man. So
Nice.
I want to travel. I want to go. I want to go find a gray rat snake and a corn snake in the wild one day. Like I have to. I have to find one of these in the wild.
Yeah.
I would love to find Deborah. Her name is Deborah. I want to find Deborah in the wild. That's like I have to. So I need to go out and go herping more in the southeast.
Nice.
I'm for sure going to do that and make more nature type herping videos along with just going to different expos. I like doing that. That's freaking fun.
Awesome. Very cool, man. And then my last and final one here. Basically, what would you say to someone who might be looking to get into one of your favorite colubrid species? Either they're a brand new keeper, or they're coming from like the pythons and boas. What's kind of like your elevator pitch essentially for like why colubrids?
Well, I think you have to take a look at what do you want. If you have kids, there's a big difference between you and I, people that have kids and people that don't have kids, for sure. So you have to take a look at what is going to be best for your current life situation. And if you have kids, you want a snake that you're going to be able to pull out and throw at a kid no matter what, and you're not going to have to worry. So that's the biggest thing, is you have to take that into consideration, which is why I push corn snakes so much, it's why they're my favorite pet. They're my favorite pet in the world over a dog, cat, anything is a corn snake. Is because of that. My life and my focus has always been tailored around kids and families. So I will always recommend corn snake for kids and families because no matter what, they're the best snake because they're hardy, they're easy to take care of, and they're nice, they're chill, they're beautiful. So you have to look at what your life situation is at this moment and in the next 5 years, even 20 years, because I think we forget snakes are going to live. My buddy Greg has had some carpet pythons for 30 years. Snakes live a long time. So you have to look at that. Look at what you want, what your life is. Are you renting? Where do you live? Are you going to be buying a house? There's all these factors that you have to take into consideration. So choose your animal wisely. And a corn snake is pretty easy no matter what. You can rent, you can move multiple times. It's not going to stress it out. It's not going to kill it like a chameleon or some other stupid thing. So that's what you got to look at, I think, is your life and what you want, what's going to suit your life the best. And colubrids really are the best for that.
Yeah, agreed.
And they're fun to watch. Man. They're active. They're cool. They move around. They're just cool snakes.
Absolutely.
Like Deborah here. I've been holding her for 20 minutes now, and I actually did. Me and Jason Nelson, we went out last summer for the first time in my gopher snake spot. It's on my Instagram, I think, or even on YouTube. We found a big giant female milk snake. It was awesome. It was the first time we'd ever been herping in this area, and we were just driving, and me and Jason both yelled at the same time to the driver. It's like, snake, snake. We jumped down, just a big, beautiful milk snake. That was pretty awesome to find. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, night cruising. That was the only time I found. I know they found others, but that was the one time, the one and only time I found a milk snake so far.
Got it. Cool. Well, Mike, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. It was a great little bit over an hour and a half here. Like I mentioned, I have both your Instagram in the description. I have your YouTube there as well. For the audience, make sure you go follow Mike on social media, both Instagram and YouTube, especially if you're watching here on YouTube. Go subscribe to him. Help him hit 1K for sure.
Yeah, baby. I want to be an influencer. I want to be on Dancing with the Stars. That's my dream, baby.
Nice.
No. Oh, and house snakes are overrated. That's another one, just so you know.
House snakes? All right.
Yeah, put that in your thumbnail. House snakes are overrated.
I'd rather a house snake over a hognose, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like house snakes. I just had a bust Katie Westmoreland's balls about that. So.
All right. Well, Mike, it was a pleasure. Audience watching, once again, as always, thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Colubrid Corruption. This was episode number 87 with Mike of Solid Serpents. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on the major audio podcasting platforms. Give me a follow on social media. Check out the Patreon, first link in the description below. And that's really about it. So, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next week for episode 88. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
Bye-bye.